Stop right there and hear me out for 15 seconds. If you are over 70 and you have been told the safest plan is to take every test offered, that thinking can quietly rob your strength, your money, and your peace of mind. I am about to show you 5 checkups many Americans over 70 should avoid because they can harm more than help, and the smarter path to stay strong, independent, and in charge. I fully endorse the plan you are about to hear because it is simple, practical, and built for real life in this country. Let us start with a truth that cuts through the noise. Healthcare is like owning a truck you depend on. You change the oil on schedule. You fix what is broken. You do not rebuild the engine just because a flashy ad told you to. In medicine, the same wisdom applies. Some tests clearly help people in their 70s live longer or live better. Others create a chain of false alarms, more scans, more needles, and even procedures that can leave you weaker than before. The goal is not to refuse care. The goal is to choose care that pays you back in years and in quality of life. That is the American way. Practical. No nonsense. Results first. Here is the picture I want you to hold while we go deeper. One test often leads to another. A blood test looks a little high. That triggers a repeat test. The repeat test triggers a biopsy. The biopsy finds a tiny, slow-growing thing that was never going to bother you. Now you are offered surgery or radiation or pills that carry side effects. You go from feeling fine to feeling like a permanent patient. Your calendar fills with appointments. Your savings drip away on copays and fuel and parking. Your days feel smaller. None of this is what you wanted when you said yes to that first simple test. My promise is to show you where those traps hide and how to step around them with confidence. Here is the backbone of the plan. After 70, most men without urinary symptoms should steer clear of routine prostate-specific antigen blood checks. Most women with a long record of normal cervical screens and no special risk should retire Pap tests after 65. People without warning signs should skip walk-up carotid ultrasounds that look for plaque in the neck arteries. People without neck symptoms should skip screening thyroid ultrasounds. And everyone should be wary of whole-body scans sold as peace of mind in glossy ads because they deliver worry more often than health. In place of those low-value checks, you will say yes to the basics that truly protect you. Blood pressure control, not smoking. Sensible cholesterol management. Movement most days, enough protein to hold your muscle. A good night's sleep. Vaccinations that fit your situation. A short list of targeted tests chosen with your clinician that match your story and your goals. I endorse this approach because it gives you the most life for the least hassle. Now we roll into Chapter 1, where we take the first 2 troublemakers and diffuse them with common sense. The first is the prostate blood test in older men who feel fine. It sounds harmless. 1 quick tube of blood. Yet this is one of the most common trigger points for cascades in American men over 70. The number can be up because the prostate is bigger with age. It can be up because you rode a bike or had a mild infection. A single high number rarely proves danger, but it often leads to more testing. Biopsy needles carry a risk of infection and bleeding. If a slow-growing cancer is found, you can end up with surgery or radiation that leaves you with leakage or problems with intimacy for the rest of your life. Many of those tiny cancers would never have caused harm. You traded a morning of false security for years of complications. That is not a trade a wise American makes. What is the better path? If you are over 70 and healthy, and you have no urinary symptoms of obstruction or bone pain or sudden weight loss, you talk with your clinician and choose watchful waiting. You agree to speak up if symptoms show. You keep your strength routine going. You keep your blood pressure and cholesterol in line. You keep your calendar free for the parts of life that matter. If your personal history or family history is unusual, your clinician may advise differently. That is the point. Personal care beats blanket rules. But the default for many older men who feel well should be to skip routine prostate screening. I endorse that. The second troublemaker is cervical cancer screening after a lifetime of normal results. American women have shown more discipline with screening than any group on earth. You have earned the right to stop when the payoff shrinks. After 65, if you have an adequate record of normal tests and you are not in a high-risk category, repeating Pap tests does not make you safer. It makes you busier and more anxious. An unclear result can push you into more procedures like colposcopy and biopsy. The days and nights of waiting are heavy. I am not saying never test anyone after 65. I am saying a woman with years of normal results and no special risk should thank her body for serving her well and release this test. Use the saved energy for the daily routines that keep you mobile, steady, and connected. Use your time for church, for family, for the garden, or the workshop. I endorse the decision to retire Pap screening for those who qualify because it honors what works and lets go of what no longer pays. Chapter 1 also lays out the mindset that makes all of this work. You will carry a 3-question script in your wallet and in your head. What problem does this test solve for someone my age? What are the real downsides, including false alarms, follow-up scans, and side effects? How will the results change my plan in a way that makes me live longer or live better? If the answers are fuzzy, you do not need the test. If the answers are crisp and the plan would change in a way that matters, then you consider it. That simple script is your American shield. Polite, firm, effective. Now we turn to Chapter 2, where we tackle the remaining 3 traps and build a safety net of better choices. The first is screening of the carotid arteries in the neck for people with no symptoms. You have seen the flyers. Mobile units in a parking lot offering quick scans to see if your neck arteries are narrowed. It sounds like stroke prevention. In healthy people without warning signs, it more often creates problems. Small plaques are common with age, and finding them does not mean you are headed for a stroke. What happens next is the cascade, more imaging, a specialist visit. In some cases, a procedure to open an artery that never needed opening. Those procedures carry their own risk, including stroke and heart attack. The better way to avoid stroke is boring and brilliant. Keep your blood pressure in the healthy range. Do not smoke. Take your cholesterol medicine if it is prescribed. Move most days. Practice a strong sleep routine. Those are the things that protect your ability to drive, to fish, to travel, to stand proudly at your granddaughter's ceremony. If you do develop a warning sign like a brief one-sided weakness, a brief loss of vision in one eye, or slurred speech that resolves, that is different. That is a medical evaluation today, not a screening fair next week. I endorse skipping random carotid screenings and investing your effort where it truly pays. Next is screening your thyroid with ultrasound when you feel well. Here is the honest truth. Thyroid nodules are common as gray hair. Most are harmless pebbles that never cause trouble. Ultrasound is so good at finding tiny nodules that it creates a haystack of worry for very little needle of benefit. Once a tiny nodule is found, you are pulled into repeat scans, sometimes a biopsy, sometimes even surgery that leaves you taking a pill every morning for the rest of your life. All because we went fishing when there was no sign of a problem. If you have a rapidly growing neck lump that is firm and does not move, if you have persistent hoarseness or trouble swallowing, or if you have strong signs of a thyroid that is racing or crawling, you talk to your clinician. That is not screening. That is targeted care. But if you feel fine, skip the fishing trip. I endorse that because it protects your independence and your calendar. The third trap is the full body scan sold directly to consumers. You know the ads. See inside your body. Catch threats early. The promise feels like certainty. The reality is a flood of incidental findings that are odd but harmless. The more you scan, the more oddities you find. Each one can lead to more scans, needles, and sometimes surgery. Full body CT adds an extra problem of radiation exposure. Full body MRI avoids that but still triggers the cascade of incidental findings. After 70, your wise move is to respect your time and your energy. Test when there is a specific worry that a trusted clinician and you agree is worth chasing. Do not let a billboard tell you to go hunting for trouble. I endorse avoiding whole body screening because your life is better spent outside of waiting rooms. Chapter 2 is also where we swap fear with a sturdy plan. You will keep a short list of checks that do make sense depending on your story. If you smoke or quit recently and meet criteria, a low-dose lung scan up through about 80 can save lives. If you are at risk for brittle bones, a bone density check can guide a plan to protect you from fractures. If you live with diabetes or high blood pressure, you keep your routine visits and basic labs because they directly steer the medicines and habits that prevent heart and kidney trouble. If your clinician recommends a stool-based colon test or a targeted colon exam based on your history, you consider it. You still listen for red flag symptoms and act quickly when they appear: new chest pressure with exertion, sudden weakness on one side, blood in stool that is new, unexplained weight loss with fatigue, pain that wakes you from sleep or steadily worsens. These are reasons to call or go in. You are not avoiding care. You are choosing smart care. Let us get even more practical. Money matters. Many Americans on fixed incomes are trying to stretch dollars and still enjoy life. Unnecessary tests do not only cost money at the front desk, they carry hidden costs. Time off work for some. Gas and parking. A meal on the road. A copay you did not expect when a scan turned into a biopsy. Avoiding a single avoidable cascade can keep hundreds or even thousands of dollars in your pocket over a year. That money can buy a gym membership, a trip to see family, a safer shower setup, or better groceries like high-protein staples that protect your muscle. I endorse spending your money on the parts of health that you feel in your bones every day. Family pressure is real, so Chapter 2 also gives you language that calms loved ones. Your son says, "Mom, you should get every test." You smile and thank him for caring. Then you explain that after 70, the best results come from targeted care. You list the 5 things you are choosing to skip unless symptoms point that way. You explain that you are saying yes to the daily work that truly keeps you out of hospitals. You invite him to walk with you in the evenings or help batch cook on Sundays. Most families relax when they hear a plan grounded in love and common sense. Now we enter Chapter 3, where we turn this philosophy into a living routine you can follow starting today. We begin with the morning. You wake up, take a deep breath, and stretch gently while seated on the edge of the bed. You drink a glass of water to prime your system. If you check blood pressure at home, you sit with both feet on the floor and measure it after a few quiet minutes. You write the number in a small notebook. That notebook comes to every visit. You make a breakfast with protein to hold your muscle. Eggs or Greek yogurt or cottage cheese or a peanut butter and banana blend, depending on what you enjoy and what fits your budget. You review your day and delete time wasters that do not serve your health, like a community van screening you do not need. You put on comfortable shoes and head out for a 20-minute walk. You move your arms while you walk and you look up at the horizon because posture is a message to your body that you are alive and moving forward. Midday is where you build momentum. You eat a lunch that keeps you steady. Maybe a tuna salad made with Greek yogurt and mustard piled on whole grain toast with tomato. Maybe beans tossed with diced onion and olive oil and lemon. You keep hydrated. If you like coffee in the afternoon, you have a cup before 3 so your sleep is not disturbed. You do a few strength moves at home. Sit to stands from a chair. Wall push-ups, light rows with a band or a small dumbbell. If you enjoy a gym, you go on a set schedule because routine beats motivation. You call a friend or a family member to stay connected because loneliness can damage health as surely as any chronic illness. You read a few pages of something that makes you think and smile. You spend zero time doom scrolling medical websites about diseases you do not have. Evening is for recovery and peace. You eat a simple dinner that includes a protein and a vegetable and a small portion of a starch that sits well with you. You turn down the lights in the house so your brain knows night has arrived. You set your phone aside at least an hour before bed because sleep is the nightly repair shop for body and brain. You say a prayer or write a short list of gratitudes. You head to bed at a consistent time. You do these small things not because a study told you to, but because you feel the results in your joints, in your balance, and in your mood. I endorse this rhythm because it keeps you out of the clinic and deep in your life. Chapter 3 also gives you the words to use at appointments so you feel steady. You begin with respect. You say, "I value your time and I want to make sure everything on my plan helps me live longer or live better." You share your 3-question script. You say, "I prefer to skip prostate screening or pap testing or carotid or thyroid screening or whole body scans unless a symptom points that way." You ask, "What should I focus on this season to protect my independence?" You listen. You write down the plan. You agree on when to check in next. You leave with clarity, not a stack of brochures for tests you do not want. Let us also preview the what if so fear does not sneak back in. What if I skip a test and something is missed? That fear is human. The way we answer it is by paying attention to signals that matter and by keeping up with the proven basics. When you control blood pressure, you slash stroke risk. When you keep moving, you protect balance and mood. When you get enough protein and sleep, you defend your muscle. When you stop smoking, if you smoke, you change the trajectory of your health in weeks. This is how we trade fear for action. This is how proud Americans walk into their 70s with their heads up. To make this even more concrete, here is a 7-day starter plan that fits the blueprint. On Sunday, you batch cook once so the week is easier. Roast chicken thighs for protein. Cook lentils for fiber and minerals. Hard-boil eggs for quick breakfasts. Mix tuna salad for fast lunches. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday you do a short strength routine at home or at the gym. On Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday you walk or ride a stationary bike or swim. Each day you eat 2 or 3 protein-centered meals and drink water through the day. Each evening you dim the lights and aim for a consistent bedtime. At the end of the week you look back at your calendar and count how many hours you kept for the parts of life you love, because you skipped low-value tests and skipped the anxiety that trails them. That count is your new health metric. I endorse tracking it. Let us return to the 5 tests with fresh eyes so you feel anchored. Routine prostate blood screening in men over 70 who feel fine is a poor trade for many. Press pause. Routine pap tests after 65 in women with adequate prior screening and no special risk are a poor trade. Retire them with pride. Walk-up carotid artery screening in people without neurologic warnings is a poor trade. Throw those flyers away. Fishing expeditions with thyroid ultrasound in people with no neck symptoms are a poor trade. Let it go. Whole body scans sold for peace of mind are a poor trade. Your peace of mind is worth more than a photograph of incidental findings. In every case, there are exceptions driven by personal history and symptoms. That is why we partner with a clinician we trust. That is why we use the 3-question script. That is why we choose targeted care over scattershot screening. I want to speak straight to your American spirit before we close. You built families, businesses, and neighborhoods. You served in uniform or supported those who did. You have paid your dues 1,000 times over. You do not have to spend your 70s chasing shadows in imaging centers. You do not have to hand over your calendar to cascades that steal your energy. You can claim a different path, one built on respect for your time and on the science of what works at this stage of life. You can say no with a smile, and you can say yes with confidence to the habits that put wind in your sails. Here is a final picture to carry with you. 2 neighbors, both 75, go to a community health fair. One signs up for every screening. She leaves with a list of follow-ups and worry in her chest. Over the next month, she spends more time under bright lights in cold rooms than in her garden. The other neighbor thanks the staff and walks past the scanners to the park. He keeps his appointment with his clinician later that month where they adjust a blood pressure medicine and set simple goals. He cooks at home. He sleeps well. He visits his grandkids. A year later, he is walking longer and smiling more. The difference was not luck, it was choice. Choose the path that keeps your life big. If you have listened this far, you know exactly what to do next. Write the 3-question script on an index card and tuck it in your wallet. Look at your calendar and cancel any low-value screening you signed up for out of fear. Make a short list of the basics you will practice this week. Movement most days. Protein with meals. Blood pressure checks if that is part of your care. Lights down early for better sleep. Connection with people who lift you up. Then call your clinic and set a focused visit to review your plan and your goals for the next season. You are not stepping back from care. You are stepping into wise care. I endorse every suggestion you have heard today because they honor American practicality and protect what matters most. Your strength, your independence, your time. Say no to the 5 checkups that too often harm more than help. Say yes to the daily work that makes you hard to knock down. Then tell a friend or a sibling or a neighbor what you learned so they can win back their time too. That is how communities get stronger. If this video helped you, do me one favor. Come back tomorrow and the next day because this channel delivers straight shooting, budget-friendly, life-expanding guidance for proud Americans who want to live well after 70. Drop a comment with the word stronger by choice so I know you are with me. Share this with a friend who needs a steady plan. Make sure you are subscribed so you never miss what comes next. Your best years can still be strong years. I will see you in the next one.